I'm Scott L. Miller. It is Saturday, the 26th of March, 2022. This is my daily vlog of life in Nicaragua. Today, Dominica and I are in Managua. They're the entire day, which we almost never get. And so I'm going to take you straight on to our adventures in Managua proper and in Ciudad Sandino. We have some good food to show you and interesting night out. And yes, we have the most inflammatory title of all time, super clickbait, on our title today. It's really not that big of a deal, but I had to put it because I had the opportunity and I got you to watch. Stay to the end. It is bright and sunny. We are here at the Gastro Park Jean-Paul Genis, and we are heading in to get some vegan, because there's a new vegan place that's absolutely fantastic, and we love it here. This is one of my favorite places in Managua because there's so much variety of amazing food all in one place, and the venue is gorgeous, and it's not in the middle of the city, but it is up on the south side in the middle of a really nice district. Hopefully the music playing is not a problem on the video, and I'm just gonna walk in real quick and get some shots, and then we're gonna go eat because there's it's not a lot of people here. It's lunch, but it's such a cool location. There's like 20 restaurants in here. All of it's great. We're gonna go eat. Nimu at the Gastro Park is one of our favorite restaurants that we have found so far in Nicaragua. The food is absolutely fantastic. It's all vegan. Everything's really interesting and delicious. It's absolutely excellent. So we're really just generally excited to come to the Gastro Park because there's so many things that you can eat all in one place. But Nimu is the best find and just opened up recently. So I am on the kind of northeast-ish direction of Ciudad Sandino. I'm relatively close to the highway, and I was gonna walk down the main road, but it's so loud. There was so many, like the church is so loud and the traffic is so loud, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to get anything. So I decided to walk along this kind of abandoned area. I don't know. So here is a residencia that I'm coming by, and this is sort of like a big field, except it's not. It's just, I don't know, maybe it'll be a development. I'm sure it's going to be a development, and there is a bulldozer and they're working, so it's probably new housing going in because this is a rapidly expanding area. Ciudad Sandino is a residential city that was built after the aftermath of the giant earthquake that liquefied Managua in the 1970s, destroying much of the city and proving that building high-rises in the city wasn't an option. So the largest city in the country had to stop building up and had to start building out, and a lot of people were displaced because of the earthquake, and they put them in Ciudad Sandino. They built this city in an emergency to prepare, to give them a place very quickly to live. So the city didn't have a lot of time to be planned. This area has a lot of nice houses that I'm walking by, not in residencias. There's a lot of dirt blowing across me right now because there's a bulldozer and it's high wind. So it's kind of a rough combination of things. But so this is kind of the fringes of the city, and nobody ever comes out here and films anything because in some ways it's just not that interesting, but also I get a lot of warnings that it's just not that safe. But if you look around, it does not give the impression of being a problem at all. Like, this is a perfectly normal residential area with normal people, and everybody's just going about their day. Like, I don't know what people are expecting to happen. We've got a tuk-tuk coming by. You don't see those in Leon because they're not allowed as taxis in the city of Leon, but the rest of the country pretty much they're allowed to be used. So they're actually pretty popular, but you never see them on my videos because you can't get to the beach with one. If you're a private owner, of course you can, but not very many private owners decide to have something like that. It's really used as taxis. There goes another, just went past me. So today we actually had a pretty cool, relaxing day. I'm gonna get out of everybody's way and let them walk by. We had a nice day in the city, pretty much just chill. The Gastro Park was awesome. The food was really good. We ended up, after being at the Gastro Park, we discovered after the dinner, Dominica and I discovered an ice cream place, very cool, Fred's ice cream, and we ate there. We talked to the owners for a while. They're planning on coming out and staying at the hotel, which is awesome. They know some of our neighbors, even though it's very, very far away. Like, it really is a small country. Everybody knows someone you're connected to. 6 degrees of Nicaragua for sure. So that was cool. Then we just went out and did some shopping. I finally managed to find a copy of Don Quixote in Spanish, so I bought that at Hispanomer and Hispomer, I don't know what it's called, and then just chilled out at Molinos, the cafe, for a little while, having some drinks. now hanging out in Ciudad Sandino as we gather everyone and make plans for going out this evening. The plan is we're going out to Gara in Los Robles tonight, but we probably won't go there until like 10 o'clock because if you go earlier than that, you just end up sitting around waiting for things to get going. But if you're there, it's kind of expensive because what do? You sit around a table, maybe you get snacks, you definitely get drinks, and the price just adds up. Whereas if you go later, woo, the wind picked up, you know, you go and you drink half as much and you don't eat anything, you don't get a table, and you just dance. It's actually a lot more fun and much cheaper, so that's most likely what we'll be doing. So that's our day. This is Ciudad Sandino, and I hope I'm gonna get a chance to bring you a lot more of it. I am gonna turn around right now though, because I love these mountains in the background, and I know on the GoPro it's really hard to see this stuff. There's beautiful mountains in the background. Remember, this is super wide angle, so the distance gets like blown away. It was like, oh, it's so tiny, but in reality, there's some gorgeous mountains right there, and if I turn, there's some here as well. And if I turn this way, I'm pretty much looking up at the lake. You obviously can't see the lake, but it's right over just past those hills. After doing my shoot last night, we went out to Don Ceviche for dinner. And then headed out to go dancing. All the animals, they can't. What is that? That sounds like a duck. That's crazy. Okay, so we went out dancing at Gara and had a fun night. We had a bunch of us went out and hung out, and actually in between or before dinner I should say, there was a bit of time that we just hung out because we had the afternoon after the sun went down, but we didn't want to go too early because you end up at the clubs long before there's anything to, so we did the traditional Nicaraguan thing, just put chairs out on the sidewalk and hung out in the neighborhood, which is a lot of fun. It's very cool. Just had some drinks and just sit out and chill. And this is really interesting. I don't know if you can see it or hear it, but there's an airplane flying overhead, and this is not something you see very often, and we saw one last night, and a shooting star, like a meteor, really low. But there's been a couple flights coming over this flight path, which is pretty surprising. That is definitely a goose. I'm gonna come say hi to this goose. Okay, not what I was expecting to have on the show today. And so we went out to Gara and after dinner and went dancing, had a nice time, exhausting as always. And right at the end of the night, it was about time, we were already thinking about going, and we were dancing up towards the front. And it's a big crowd of people. It's always very, very crowded. And while we were dancing, suddenly I felt something, a lot of pressure on my leg, on my left shin, and I said to myself that had to be a beer bottle. And I looked down, and there is a rivulet of blood down my leg already by the time I look down, and I'm like, oh boy. So I try to get enough space so I can look at it because it's super dark and super crowded, and I look down and I quickly wipe it away because I think that there's glass in my leg. It didn't hurt, right? I just felt pressure. At no point was there pain. And I pushed the blood away to look for glass. Luckily, I didn't find any glass. It must have just punctured and bounced off or something. But I moved the rivulet away, and instantly it was covered in blood again. And I'm like, oh gosh, that is flowing blood. My sock was soaked. My shoe was soaked. There was so much blood in my shoes so fast. It was terrible. So that prompted us to leave right then and there. So I now have a pink shoe. Everything is fine. It healed itself. Like, it must have been just a little tiny puncture that just hit an artery so that the blood came out really quickly, because otherwise it just wouldn't have come out that fast. It's just not that much pressure. So it was a lot of blood for a cut we couldn't even find. I couldn't really feel it, but it made for an interesting end of the evening. Always something happening here on the show. So I'm going to wrap up again for the day from Ciudad Sandino, and tomorrow we're going to be just getting breakfast, catching the bus, and heading back to Leon. So we'll see everybody from there.